This is Magog, and I'm doing a follow-up to my UFC 9 Fox Sports preview. I had to ask myself when faced with another field, what exactly does effective fan analysis offer? I mean, any asshole can rattle off a bunch of facts, but what are their fans supposed to take away from that? My best answer, in at least MMA's case, is fan analysis is a crutch. Fan analysis, in general, is supposed to be a lampshade. It's supposed to shine the light on something otherwise people wouldn't look at. Let's get straight to the exact answer. In my pre-fight show, I pointed out Bobby Green was a force to be reckoned with, because he was able to have the tools to overcome Jacob Volkman. There's a small list of fighters at 155 that are able to do something like that. I understand you might feel Volkman isn't as big a name as, say, Jim Miller, Pat Healy's biggest win, but Volkman was a relentlessly safe style, the kind of style that was causing Dana White's nightmares and trying to make up-and-coming fighters come to fruition. Green won that fight by constantly being able to make Volkman work to keep him down. He got the best of scrambles and exchanges, and ultimately, whereas Healy simply was able to beat Jim Miller by being able to take more abuse, almost like he was numb to being able to take damage, possibly high. You have to know that fighters will be able to rise to the occasion and which ones will be able to fall. It's the same reason why I was able to pick Faber over Michael McDonald, despite Faber being 36 years of age and Michael being 22. It wasn't because I guessed right or it was a fan issue. Faber works hard and stays in shape. McDonald was coming off a painful loss versus Henry Barrow. Additionally, Faber surrounded himself with fighters who don't just simply blow smoke up his ass and tell him he's awesome, much like BJ Penn does. Experience can beat youth, even promising youth, but it has to be the experience that's guided by quality and has to be willing to learn. McDonald, when faced with Faber in a year from now, rededicated and maybe a little bit more worn down Faber, could easily go the other way. Winning like losing is a force of habit. That doesn't mean because fighter A is beating up a bunch of dubious quality fighters, he's going to beat fighter B, who's a great fighter, on a bad losing streak. It's why Joe Lauzon is crushed by his own success more often than not. Joe Lauzon, time and again, has proven to be the kind of fighter whose only purpose is to be the key holder to the next level of competition, or a gatekeeper if you insist on being crude. I also personally felt that Zach Fun-Size Mikowski would put his best forward coming in despite his two losses, since getting his shot in the UFC versus Scott Jorgensen might well be his last chance. He was a former champion and he knows what it is to be able to rise to the occasion. Scott Jorgensen, unfortunately, has found himself in that similar role, just where Joe Lauzon is, as being that stepping stone. Now, I'm going to cover one of the fights where I picked wrong, just to prove one of my own points. Abel Trujillo fought and beat Roger Bowling before the fight. I said, despite Abel looking better in the UFC, I was a longtime fan of Bowling from the Strikeforce Challenger Series, and I was going to take him for the win. I didn't base that on any fact, much like Shogun fans today, when I said he was going to be the better fighter in the performance. The results came back poorly for me. It's respectful to go out with your favorites and sit there and say that they're going to win based off your opinion, but ultimately it kind of makes you look like an asshole. I can say things like, well, Roger isn't that bad, and maybe he just doesn't belong in the UFC. But as fans, you're supposed to tell people where your favorites really lie and not make up the fact that they really are ranked or not. Be honest with yourself.